we're going live for YouTube. And we're going for the podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of
Business Bros!
Yeah! All right, ladies and gentlemen, round number 2 for the day. So if you're listening to this on a replay, it's just the one for you for today. But hey, here we are. Hernan Cias here, host of the Business Bros podcast. We're going to get used to saying that every single day.
Along with James Cias, co-host and the insurance bro of the Business Bros podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get with our guest for today, remember 365 pairs of shoes is what we're shooting for by the end of the year. So if you have a gently worn, I can never get that right, gently used pair of shoes or a brand new pair of shoes, or you want to donate cash, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@ciasfirst.com. Hit him up via email. He'll drive over on his Harley and pick up those bad boys, or you can be a guest on the show and bring them yourself. That works too. So we appreciate those shoes either way. The garage is starting to fill up. We got bags, we got boxes, and we love it. So thank you very much.
Y'all rock.
Y'all rock. Nice. All right. And
here we go. Round number 2. Thank you, everybody who is joining us for the second time on this beautiful, almost sunny Thursday afternoon. Sunny in some parts. You got a sunburn on the back of your head.
I did, dude. Graduation day. But anyway, another very exciting show. Another Lipsey. This is fantastic. So this time we've got Mr. Randy Lipsey from WFG National Title. This is exciting. I think this might be the first time that we have brothers on the show.
Other than ourselves,
right?
It's the bro show.
Yeah. We got another couple of business bros in.
Yeah. All right. So
I love it. So welcome, Randy, and thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. So tell me a little bit about your past. Where'd you come from? I know a little bit about it, but I don't think our audience knows. Tell me about what's up with real estate in your family.
We have a lot of real estate in our family. So my dad's a broker, as I was just telling you guys. He's out still in East County, Keller Williams. So basically, we're all native San Diegan. Grew up here, actually, in Spring Valley, right up the road. And basically, as you know, we have 2 bros in title. When we were all graduating from college, right around 2000-ish time, so for me, I was graduating from college at San Diego State and needed to get some kind of career-oriented type job. It was, I was done waiting tables for a living and wanted to get into something. So I did 2 things. I went and I interviewed for the San Diego Sheriff's Department and got in their background investigation, and then also started getting my real estate license. So by about 6 months into 2000, I had already sold like 4 homes, and I was still in the background investigation for sheriff, so they hadn't panned out. So I'm selling houses.
Yeah.
So I did that, kind of rode the wave from 2000 to 2008 when the market tanked, and I was selling about 20, 25 homes a year. And in 2008, the market, as you know, went south, and I was just kind of like,
decimated like a lot of other agents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but too, and I was like the perfect example of what was going on. Like in 2005, I had bought like the most expensive house in the neighborhood that I lived in La Mesa. So it was like the top comp. And then I was primarily a listing agent. So basically I joke and I say, from 2000 to 2006, the listing appointment was like, hey, last one sold for $450. We're going to put yours on for $500,000. We'll get 6 offers over the weekend. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah.
It's kind of hot like that right now.
It is. No, that's why I like the market we're in right now. But I think, obviously we don't have the same type of loans that were out in the thing. I also had a 3-year interest only ARM that, came due, and all of a sudden my payment like doubled.
Ouch.
Overnight. So I ended up losing my house. I went back to renting ended up renting my grandma's house in 2008. And ended up going back to law enforcement. I went to the probation department and started in 2008.
Another one in law enforcement?
2 law enforcement in a day, right?
Oh, yeah? So I went I didn't get to your person that you had today. So
it hasn't showed up yet.
Podcast, not the live. So anyways, so I was at the juvenile detention facility in Otay for 5 years. Never really liked the law enforcement. Really wasn't my thing. I mean, it was a it was cool because it was not sales for which I needed for a while.
Yeah, you needed to pay the bills for a while.
Had a lot of overtime. I basically was the overtime. But it's funny because, you know, I look back now and I'm like, you know, it's funny because sales has always been where I'm at, you know. And even when I was a probation officer, the uniforms that we had to wear were just like these funky green polos with like the embroidered logo on it. And the only place you could get it was at the juvenile detention facility in Kearny Mesa. And I didn't really like dealing with the lady that was selling, like the main, she was kind of not really nice. So I was like, dude, surely I can
figure something out.
So I call my buddy who does shirts, and I'm like, hey bro, can you figure out how to get this embroidered logo on here? He's like, oh, no worries, dude. So for $20, we've got the pattern. So I was selling shirts to my homies at the facility, and then I started working at like different camps, and then which was right. It was awesome because like all of a sudden like our facility was super fresh with new
Lady in Kearny Mesa was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, my sales are down, you know. But it was the best, and I would start like I got like branch out into like hoodies and hats, and like dudes would come up and like, hey, can you give me like a jacket? Or
no problem.
And I was, you know, I wasn't making a whole lot of money. It was like a couple bucks per shirt or whatever, but it was just, even then I like had to figure out a way to sell something. You know?
Yeah, it's in the blood.
Get the need, you know, like
there's a problem
and fix it.
Yeah, find a need and fix it. There's a problem, solve it.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. So, dude, so you're in law enforcement. You're in probation office.
Yeah.
Right, and you got pummeled by the market.
Oh yeah.
So then, how do you decide to go back into it?
Well, again, I wasn't really stoked about the law enforcement thing. I had actually got passed up on a promotion or two. It was kind of, you know, it was humbling too, because I'm like, at that time, I was like, you know, probably 35 or so. Not really good at the math off the top of my head like that, but I was in my 30s working with at an entry level type job with a bunch of 25-year-olds that are like fresh out of college, never had a job in their life, and so it's like to be that guy and then to get passed up on a promotion or two, it was like not fun. And so at 5 years, you're able to vest the pension that you've accrued at the probation department. So and then it just so happened that, like I said, so my two brothers, Jeremy and Ryan, were working at lawyer's title at the time. One of the guys in the reps in North County was retiring. And so they thought of me. They brought me in and said, hey, you know real estate, you know sales. This dude's like going to be retiring. Maybe you can pick up the book of business that he's leaving off and go from there. And so that was in 2013, and it's been a little bit of a rocky ride. So you know, we were all the same company for a while. We ended up going to Title 365, which like blew up. We were number 2 in the county for like 2 years, and then somehow it all kind of went to shit. And then it was like every man for himself. So now Ryan's at Tycor, I'm at WFG National Title, and Jeremy's over at back at Lawyer's Title. So we'll try to get him on next.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens. Got to reach out.
So,
no, I mean, dude, it's amazing. You know, when your family has been real estate heavy for a long time. I mean, you said dad was a broker. You guys are continuing on. What do you think that's going to be like for your kids? Do you think they're gonna end up going somewhere in a different direction because they want to, or they're gonna kind of fall back into what they've already known? I mean, you guys kind of did.
Yeah, I don't know. So my kids are older a little bit right now. Like my youngest is 16. So I have a 20-year-old that is kind of figuring out his life. My daughter is actually studying to be a nurse. She's actually starting up at the Scripps Mercy in August. They do like a new nurse program or whatever, which is great. She's going to be making great money, and she's finishing up on her bachelor's degree at State. And my oldest is 26. He just got a job as painting airplanes on the Coronado base or something like that. So, I mean, it pays pretty well. Again, I mean, I'd be open to it if they wanted to go into it. And then my youngest is planning on, he's a rock star. He's like the 3rd in the county for sprinting the 100 in his age group. His sophomore over at Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways.
So you think they're going to end up in this type of industry? I mean, maybe not the nurse.
Nah, you never know. I mean, again, and it's funny because one of my clients actually, one of my agents that works up in Escondido, she's a nurse also. So, like I think you've said on another podcast, the cool thing I like about real estate is there's room for everybody. You know, yes. I always say, like, I got my young agents that are going to freaking take over the world and do, 70, 80 transactions and just be millionaires by their 30s. And cool. And then I have like my soccer mom clients that are just like, hey man, if I could just do 5-10 deals a year to supplement our household income, and I'm like, hey, that's cool too. Like, whatever works. Whatever you're
it's the ones that come out in the spring. They list a couple deals, they close a couple deals, and they go on vacation the rest of the year.
Yeah, they're there for their kids when they're on summer break.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It like gives you that flexibility, that little bit of different type of mainstream.
Yeah.
But when it's your livelihood, it's a different ball game, right? I mean, then all of a sudden, not that it's not fun, but you gotta put food on the table. You got to, pay the bills. It's a different type of game. And you've worked with a lot of agents. What kind of struggles do you think a lot of agents are going through like today as far as trying to get new clients?
I mean, I think it's again, like you said earlier, it's very much like the market we had in the 05-06 time. You're seeing a lot of like the pressure on discount brokerages with the Redfins and the Zillows doing like the iBuy. Actually, Zinview was telling me, the guys from Zinview were that they just got a contract for 200 properties that they're doing video and photos for that Zillow owns they're out in Palm Springs and different parts of Southern California. So there's there's always the price pressure.
Well, you were around in 2008. So, I mean, speaking of those types of things, I remember iPay1 was one of those companies back then.
Yeah, they had the sports arena rights.
Yeah, they did. They had the sports arena rights. And they weren't the only ones. There was a number of
cells and the hope cells. And
so this discount broker thing isn't new.
No, but it's just one of the pressures.
Yes,
again,
yes.
It's not insurmountable. It's, again, I mean, with that, it's just like it's finding the objection that you're working against. I mean, I think the other thing is there is an influx of new agents, and there are those people that aren't necessarily in it as a livelihood. They're just like, hey, they say, hey, look, prices are up again, homes are selling like hotcakes. Let's go sell my 4 or 5 deals a year for my cousin and my uncle and my aunt, you know what I mean? And so then agents that are doing it full time, they maybe be losing some of those transactions to those family members or something like that in a normal market that they would normally get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. So, I mean, we're always going to have those turnovers. I mean, there's way more agents out there than that are not closing deals than there are the ones that are closing. Like, I mean, I would say somewhere around 10% of the agents that are out there are the ones who are actually consistently closing deal after deal after deal. The rest, they're going to do a handful of deals here and there. They're going to get those, my mom has to sell, my uncle has to sell, my cousin has to sell. They're going to do the 3 or 4 deals, and then they're pretty much going to bounce because it does take work to prospect. Prospecting is no joke. I mean, you literally have to dedicate your time to picking up the phone or, using your video DMs is one of my favorites right now, or using your social media, which is one of the big things that we like to push. But it's prospecting. It's not just kind of browsing around. I know there's a lot of agents who have this picture in their head that they're going to get their license and the world will come to them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I put it like this. I always tell my agents, look, there's a number out there of people that you need to talk to about real estate every day. That is going to lead you to the results that you want to see at the end of the year. So whether that's 100 deals a year or 10 deals a year, you can roll it out to the number of like, okay, I need to talk to this many people. How you talk to those people is up to you. You can, if you want to wear your name tag upside down and go stroll through the grocery store until someone asks you about real estate, I don't think that's the most effective way to prospect.
Right.
But it's
a way to prospect.
There's all kinds of agents walk around with their name tags all the time and just kind of talk to people, the more gregarious agents. But then, like for me, when I was an agent, my first year in the business, I did 10 transactions that were all expired listings. And it was because my dad was like a big Mike Ferry guy back in the day, and he was just, hey, this is what you do. You show up at 6 o'clock, you go, print. At that time, we were printing all the expired and canceled listings from the day before. I would do a little research, try to track down people's numbers and information till about 7:30, and then I was banging the phones all day, like just, hey, you know why your home didn't sell, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All my query scripts.
But the thing about that, I mean, both of us come from an age where, we played outside till the lights came on, you know what I mean? Like, it was a different world when I was growing up compared to the world that my kids are growing up in today.
Oh, yeah.
And the way we communicate was also different.
Sure.
I had a conversation with somebody the other day. It was a lunch meeting, and we were talking. He's a new agent. He's like 22 years old or something like that. He's just getting into the game, and he's trying every single prospecting method. Yeah. But he's not really digging deep into one. He was just kind of tasting a bunch of different ones because somebody told him, you need to make calls. You need to make 20 contacts a day. So, he goes over there, he mojo dials, and he, somebody picks up the phone. He didn't get to talk to him. I made a contact. Yeah. He's meeting numbers for the sake of meeting numbers. Yeah. And that, and when I sat with him, I was like, look, dude, it's not about hitting that number metric. It's not about, picking up the phone, making 80 calls or 100 calls or making 5 contacts. It's actually being able to have a conversation with an adult human being who's in a position to buy or sell a property. That is a true that is a true contact. That is a true prospect. That is what you're looking for on a daily basis. So for me, it's kind of, I get weary when I hear things like, you need to make 5 contacts or 10 contacts a day, because I think agents don't quite understand what an actual contact is.
Well, and also I would add to that too, that it's a lead too, not just a contact. You know what I mean? So, because so I would say split it up, especially so if it's a new agent in the business. I always say you need to split up your time between finding the people who are needing to sell right now. So those are like the expired listings of for sale by owners, like you were saying the other in one of your podcasts,
people with their hands up.
People with their hands up, yeah. So find those the distress, the divorce leads, those guys. So and spend a piece of your time on those people, because that's going to generally lead to something in the near future, right? Right. So then, after that, then what you do is, most agents do some kind of geographical area. Like I grew up in Spring Valley. When I would go, I had certain neighborhoods that I would go door knock, a couple times a week. And I rolled out the numbers of just, hey, we have a listing in the area. I tell people all the time, like when I first started out, I'd go with my business card. I would have a printout of the one-liners of the active pending sold for that neighborhood for that day. I'd roll around with a clipboard and I go, hey, I'm the neighborhood realtor. Here's my card. Just want to let you know we just sold a couple houses down the road, and I'm looking I got more buyers that want to move in this neighborhood. Are you ready to sell? And start the conversation from there.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a start, right? That's the big thing for me right now is the conversation gets started, right? Mm-hmm. Now the person who you're standing in front of, maybe they're not going to remember you the moment you turn around anyways at first, but the second time, the third time, then it's all of a sudden they see your mailer in the mail, and these are when you're talking about farming, I honestly want you to think about what it takes to grow a crop. You know what I mean? It's literally farming. It's not something where you put a seed in the ground and you're going to get an orange the next day. Like that's not how it works, right? This is something that you're going to be doing you're cultivating it for some time.
Nice metaphor, by the way.
Oh, hey, you're welcome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. There's an agent up in Oceanside that I used to work with, Doug West. He's with First Team Realty, and I tell people all the time, like I think he's a primary example for a farming type of success, because he lives in his neighborhood. If you look at his numbers when he first moved up in the thing, he wasn't do that many deals his first year. But he's blown up to where he's now been 6 years in the same area in the back gate of Oceanside, and he does like probably 70, 80 closed transactions in that neighborhood. He doesn't sell much outside of that neighborhood, so like if you go down to Encinitas, like you never heard of him, but in that neighborhood. But he's just been consistent over time, he lives in the neighborhood. He walks the dog in the neighborhood. He coaches soccer in the neighborhood. He holds open houses in the neighborhood. Puts 30 signs out. You can't drive through that neighborhood without seeing his name. Every weekend or, most of the time, all the time.
It's funny you say that because, he's established himself over quite some time, right? So he's built his own brand. Yes. And I got agents today that are trying to build the same type of brand, except the attention is not the same anymore, right? What we're looking at on a regular basis is not always the signage that we see when we're driving down the road, because half the time, if you're not driving, hopefully you're driving, you have your eyes on the road. But if you're a passenger in the car, chances are you're not looking out the window. Yeah. You're looking at the little screen in front of you.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So for us to grab attention in today's market, I feel there's a huge, and most people should know this, but there's a huge push towards social media and creating a brand. Yeah. My fear is that there's a lot of people out there that do one of two things. Mm-hmm. They either A, are content consumers, not content creators, right? So they're looking at stuff, they're listening to stuff, they're just being consumers of all the content, not creating stuff on their own, which starts to bring a brand. And B, they don't understand the difference between marketing and branding. Right? Whether their sales, whether what they're doing is generating sales or what they're doing is creating a name, because I think both have a different effect in what you're trying to do, and they have a different strategy for both. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that so far?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that you know, the farming, for example, is kind of a long-term play. You know what I mean? And I think, but to me, I would say it's both and. You know, I think you need to do traditional type stuff like open houses, like prospect, like door knocking, like, you know, cold calling. But I think it's, you know, I tell agents all the time, it's easier than ever now to stay in front of, because again, so to go back to the other agent, I don't know any agents that have been in the business that are like more than 10, 15 years that have been doing it in a way that don't rely a lot on referrals from past clients and just referral sources. So like the Buffinis of the world, Joe Stumps of the world that do that by referral only type thing. So that's the long play too. But you know, those referrals can come from people in your farm that and you can hit people up. I tell, at the very least, if you're not a big social media guy, like at the very least, when you take a new listing, when you post up the new listing on Facebook, send it to your clients, make sure you're friends with your clients on Facebook, and then tell them to share it to their friends so that you're at least getting out to their social network.
A smaller organic reach at least.
And then maybe people will now hit you up, and then you could friend them or have them like your business page or whatever. And, you know, say, hey, this is our house. Help us sell our house.
You know, it's funny though, because some of those simple things a lot of agents struggle with. They you know, it's one thing to take a picture of the place or take a picture of themselves and post it. It's another to like do that with somebody else or somebody else's home. Like all of a sudden it's like there's a line drawn in the sand and they're afraid to ask, they're afraid to do, they're afraid to, you know, I don't know, that I don't really market that way, or I don't really do it that way. Really? Like if you had the biggest billboard in the world and it was given to you to market whatever you wanted to, and you don't want to do it because what? Yeah. Like I don't understand that aspect of it, you know, like that to me is one of those weird things. At least I think now we're getting across the point that people are starting to use it, right, as a medium to market whatever they're doing. Now it's just a matter of, well, your stuff is not very exciting. It's very vanilla, or it's very perfect oriented. Like I use this example a lot. It's like if social media is like, well, for a lot of people, it's like a photo album. Mm-hmm. If you look at a photo album, you see the smile, you see the perfect dress, you see the ironed clothes, you see all the good, easy pictures, all the posed pictures. Mm-hmm. What you're missing is the life that happens in between those, the crying, the laughing, the story, you know, all that stuff. Like if you have a wedding album, you're looking at all the perfect pictures in the wedding album. But what's not there is that drunk aunt of yours that was dancing on the dance floor and having a good time, or that uncle who made that weird speech, right? Those are the memories that you really have. Those are the connections that you really make. Those are the things that are missing from a photo album, and I feel like those are the things that are missing from a lot of people's posts. It's that
you're saying they need to make weird speeches.
But I mean, the authenticity.
Return the favor,
right? It's the authenticity part. Return the favor.
I love you, man.
It's the authenticity part.
Sure.
And I think that is what's missing in a lot of people's feeds, anyways. At first, to make people want to watch. Like if you're just posting the same picture of your selfie, like, hey, check out my place.
Yeah.
Look at this nice bathroom.
Or the one
That's
where you're
cool.
sitting in the front seat of your car and you're just ranting to the thing.
Yeah. I've done those though. I do those. But still, it's.
But I think you should for guys like me who watch it on silent stuff, you should figure out a way to add subtitles.
Right.
That's what I tell people. Like, dude, add some subtitles, because I'm on silent 100% of the time.
Well, I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and I'm like, oh crap! Every one of my posts recently has been from the office with the pipeline logo in the background. Like, okay, I guess I got to switch it up a little bit.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing for both of you. You're doing now, right? You're putting yourself out there, and that's, to me, it's always a progression. Like even if you listen to like our first podcast, for example, it sucked, right? But we're starting to do it, and we're getting better and better. I tell people, and you always laugh at me when I say this, but I tell people that your stories are your junk mail. right?
Yeah.
You always know what's in the junk mail. You just don't always go to it. But if I wanted my Carl's Jr. coupons, I know that on Tuesday I'm going to get them in that junk mail, right? I know they're there. Sure. And I think the stories are the same way. That's where you get to practice. Maybe you might not listen to me sitting in my car saying something, but maybe I'm trying to perfect how I'm saying something. You know what I mean? At least I'm getting in front of the camera and practicing what I'm going to say. And then when I'm in front of my client, I've said this before. I've talked about this particular thing number of times. This is my passion. Or if I'm going to create something that's a little better, it comes out freer, flowing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That makes sense?
Yes. But I guess my cautionary person inside of me wants to say that, like, you do have to calculate the numbers, because I think that, you know, it's also about sequence, like we talked about with the new agent that's coming on board. Like, and the guy you interviewed, the Berkshire Hathaway guy in Texas, that you were talking, kind of made it, you know, coaching call, which I thought was awesome. But he was like, dude, a lot of your stuff that you're doing during the day doesn't sound like it's all productive activities. You know what I mean? And so, like, if you're trying to hit it, you know, right out the gate, you need to make sure that you're doing the stuff that's probably uncomfortable. Like Brian Tracy has a I don't know if you remember his book, is called Eat That Frog or something like that.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
It's like, basically, it's like when you wake up every day, you got to eat the biggest, nastiest frog that you have on your plate first. Yeah.
Yes.
And then after that, it's smooth sailing. You know what I mean? So for that, it's for most people, that's the answer to that is prospecting. So if that means, like, cold calling your expired leads, cold calling calling your FSBOs, touch base with those guys, calling all your, you know, following up. I used to have like a sheet of just all the potential leads and like when to follow up. And then, you know, I basically, so my second year in the business, I was kind of humming along with expireds. The market was cranking up. But I moved over to what just listed, just sold calls was like another Mike Ferry thing. And I tell people all the time, like, I hated doing CMAs. So, especially because, like, I don't know if you've been to La Mesa, or there's a lot of like custom little homes. It's hard to price, you know.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of adjustments.
There's a lot of intangibles that are just kind of like to make into a price. But so what I did is I got farms for all of the condos, like anywhere in the vicinity. So I had El Cajon, College area, Spring Valley, and it's like, dude, condos are easy. Like, there's only 2 or 3 floor plans. Like, hey, your 2-bedroom, 2 baths just sold for $200,000. Like, yours is probably worth about the same. Like, do you want to sell?
Yeah, you're interested.
And that's basically, I had like 5. I think I had like 10 complexes. And so I had the old school, file folders that was like 1 through 30, and then January through December. So I would just like quarterly just call through those guys. And it's the same thing. It's just like, hey, I became like the real estate guy for those complexes. I was just like, hey, just you know, it's Randy again. Just call and let you know that your same floor plan just sold for, you know, $200,000. It's, you know, highest it's ever been. Let me know if you're ready to sell it. Like,
but again, that's one of those skills, right? You don't know which one of those calls is going to turn into a deal, but you're putting yourself out there every single day.
Exactly.
And that's, to me, that's the part. That's the section that people fall off on. It's the consistency factor of sending that message out. Yeah. And today, the biggest push I push is you can do the same thing if you're terrified of your phone. You can do the same thing using DMs.
Yeah.
You can, and it's just the new method of picking up the phone and calling somebody. The thing is, they're gonna pick up. They're gonna see your message.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's one touch. So like,
that's a touch.
That's a kind of touch that you like. And that's what I love about, like, the cool thing about social media is that you can literally touch your clients without even trying. Like, I post to kind of as an accountability to myself. I usually, when I go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, I do a little clip of me doing one of my workouts. Like today, I was doing deadlifts. So it's like a 15-second thing, and I'll put it on my Facebook story or my Instagram story, and it feeds it, and then put it on my story on my Facebook. And it's like, that's going to pop up in somebody's feed that I know, and I go, oh, Randy's working out again. Like, and it's just a free touch that I got of bringing me back to top of mind with them.
100%.
That I didn't have to really work for, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but, it's funny because I would always joke around with people that put stuff up for the gym and be like, oh, well, I guess the workout didn't happen if you didn't post it. But you know what?
It's usually true if you don't see one from me.
Right. In your case, it is true, right? But the truth of the matter is, it's one of those things where you're being held accountable. Tonight, I'm going to be a guest on a podcast with Brian Landeros.
I was about to say, I was going to give him a shout out too.
Yeah, and he has this thing where he's it's called Paying Your Dues for 33 days. Yeah. And he's got such a following right now of people that he's inspired to, like, post every single day of them at the gym and you know, saying I'm on day whatever and share it with each other. And that's a little network of people that are backing each other up, that are getting closer and closer with each other without even probably meeting in person. But that's a network of people that is starting to identify, like, oh, I'm following that person's hustling, they're doing, you know, CrossFit, or this person is swimming or whatever. You're starting to get to know those people, and that's something that, you know, you're doing. Again, that's a touch, right? I don't know what these other people are doing. If I was committing to 33 days of working out the way he was, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. But if I was, I would get to know those people even closer, and they would get to know me and what I did.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a perfect example. And you know, Seth Godin talks about stuff. He talks about like the minimum viable audience. Have you heard of him?
He's got the tribes and
he did, Akimbo is his podcast. I love that podcast. But he talks about the minimal viable audience. He talks about how, you know, like when you're selling stuff too, like people want to see who you are authentically. So like he's like, by all means, dude, like if you're a big Star Wars dude, like post your Star Wars geeky stuff and find your tribe, you know, of those people that are like, oh, dude, this sells real estate and he likes Luke Skywalker. Or I met with the gal, Jax Guzman. She's on Gabe Mendez's team, and she's like big into like pet rescue. So she has a little dog rescue in Ensenada, and that's like her passion, you know. She just still wants to do real estate to help finance that. And I was like, dude, that's so awesome, because it's like you're gonna find those like dog lover clients that are just like, they will never work with anyone but you, because they know that you
they know, like, and trust you.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing, right? I 100% agree. That's why getting out in the community is so important. That's why getting to know people, shaking hands and kissing babies is so important, because you're going to get to know people, and it's in the things that you like to do. Like you were talking about earlier about, I forgot his name already off the top of my head, but coaching in his area, living in his area. Like, I mean, doing everything in that area makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. Well, especially if again, I tell my agents too, if they live in a town like South Oceanside's like big kind of they're very, you know, there's certain type, like OB is another part. Like there's certain parts of San Diego that are very like all about that little area. Like, you know, they're like very down for their hood, you know, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, by all means, if you're living in one of those areas and you're trying to market and do real estate in that area, like go find the other businesses that are in that area, like, and do some kind of collaborative marketing with them. Like, I'm like, dude, by all means, like, go to the dry cleaner guy and go, hey, dude, I tell you what, if I mail my marketing piece of my new listing with a coupon on the back of your, you know, for $1 off each t-shirt, like, what do you think? You want to do something like that? I'll handle the marketing. Like, there's a gal out in Ramona that actually, she's Judson Real Estate. She did an awesome marketing piece of, there was a local, like, little winery that has, like, a little storefront right there in Ramona, and they were already offering a coupon of, like, hey, you know, buy one, get one free, glass of wine, come in, you know. And she was like, I tell you what, why don't I do the marketing piece for you that just says, hey, have one on Judson Real Estate, and you're already given a free glass of wine anyway. So if they come in, you haven't paid for any marketing, and it's just a cool little thing that I can give to my people in the area too, you know. And it's like, so now you're cross branding, you're meeting other agents, like other entrepreneurs in your area. And like I always tell people, like, people that own businesses, they generally tend to be more business savvy, you know, so they're probably investing.
They tend to make more money. They tend to know other people who have similar lifestyles.
Exactly.
They are the watering hole. In your case, almost exactly. They are the watering hole, right? But that's where people come to socialize, and they know a lot of people.
Absolutely, yeah. And that can work anywhere, I think, but I think it tends to work best in those communities that are very, you know, like, again, Hillcrest, North Park, those areas that are very kind of community oriented.
Yeah, well, National City's the same way.
Yeah,
Imperial Beach,
big time.
IB,
totally.
Yeah, we love.
Who was that? With Erica that you had on the
Nasty
City. Like,
Nasty City.
Like, I haven't heard that in a while.
It's been a minute.
And this guy throws out Chulawana halfway through. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, and Tim Barker mentioned Cheese Lake.
Cheese Lake?
Yeah, he mentioned that one in the comments.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but you and Erica were having too much fun. I didn't get a chance to slide that in there.
That's all right. We can do it today since Cheese Lake graduated.
Cheese Lake did graduate today. Awesome. Congratulations to all those seniors, by the way.
Yeah, no, but that's what it's all about, right? That's what, to me...
All those graduates,
yeah. To me, it's all about getting in front of enough people and telling them what it is you do. It's really, really that simple. How often can you do that? How many conversations can you have where that comes up? Yeah. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about using, like, you don't know what to say, use the Ford script, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Like, just questions about those types of things to the person that you're talking to. You know, hey, you have family in this neighborhood? You know, what do you do for a living?
Or you can use, the Brian Buffini script is perfect. He says, so like when again, door knocking, I would be out. I'm always looking for the next guy who's looking to sell. Like, so I'm looking for the guy who's like, oh yeah, as a matter of fact, we are thinking about selling in 6 weeks because we're retiring and moving away. So that's the first lead you're looking for. The second lead you're looking for is like the guy that you're sitting there talking to on his driveway for 45 minutes. You're like, oh man, you went to Monte Vista too? Me too. What do you do?
Yeah.
And then, next thing you know, you're like bros in the driveway and you're like, and then you bust out the Brian Buffini script. You're like, hey, I'll tell you what. I know you're probably not going to move anytime soon, but if you did have some real estate needs or had a friend or family member who did, do you have a person who you refer business to currently? And if they say no, then great, I want to be that guy. And then you put them on your little drip campaign, or you see them, and now they're a potential referral. You hit them up on Facebook, you hit them up on Instagram, and now they're a potential referral source for you. And you've put that out there to like looking for referrals.
And you take your notes so that when you follow up and call with them on a regular basis every month or every other month, that's your bro.
Yeah.
Right? You know exactly what the conversation was about.
Yeah, and then you get, hey, Joe, what's up? How's the wife and kids?
Exactly.
Getting so big. I seen them on Facebook,
Love it. Dropping that golden nugget right at the end there.
Well, that's what makes all the difference in the world. Because, dude, far too often with new people in any sales career, they make the first call, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's where you fall off. It's going to take you 6, 7, 8 touches. It's
Absolutely.
Filling your pipeline, pun intended, right? Mm-hmm. It's filling your pipeline with leads because it's going to drip one at a time, eventually in due time. I mean, I've always heard, and I don't know if this is an exact number, but most people that are going to buy or sell with you, they have a 90-day turnaround time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 3 months from the point of contact to when they actually
I've been prospecting for 5 years. Like, so like these guys know, like I don't give up. I just, if you're on my list, like you're on my list until you tell me not to call, like I'm just going to keep calling. Because if you're in my territory, you're doing deals, like you're going to hear from me. I mean, in a nice way. I'm a real friendly guy, but I'm just very persistent.
And there's nothing wrong with that because they might have somebody they're working with already. Yeah. And when that person messes up or they need something really quick and they need to go to the number 2, you could be that number 2.
Dude, timing is everything. I can't tell you how often it's like, hey, oh yeah, they dropped the ball. I'm so sick of it. I'll give you a shot, or some conversation like that comes up, or I get an email that's like, hey, Randy, I know you've been persistent. Like, here's a shot. Let's do this.
Even a pity one.
I ain't too proud for any of those. Hey, throw me a deal. Let's do this.
Let's do this. All right, Randy. Let's wind the clock here at the end. Talk to this camera right here. That's all you. You got a banner right under you. If people want to work with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Randy Lipsey, WFG National Title. My cell phone is 619-504-2278. Email rlipsey@wfgtitleco.com. And I'd love to hear from anybody. Be awesome. Thanks.
Boom, boom. And then lastly, the question we always ask: who do you think would be a good guest to have on the podcast?
Actually, it's funny because I prepared for that too. So I have a great, awesome guy that I know that's one of my mentors. Actually, he's not in real estate, but he owns a big landscaping company, Mike LeBon.
Cool.
So I hit him up and he said he's interested. And another gal, an agent that I work with, actually up in Oceanside, who does real estate, but she also does this cool nonprofit called Elevate Leadership Community, and it's very much like kind of positive thinking, like but beyond, like in a coaching program too. And so she's a really awesome lady. I think you'll like to have her on.
So make sure we tag them.
Yes.
So reach out to them and then we'll get in contact. Put them on the calendar.
Victoria Verone.
And what was the landscaper?
Mike LeBon.
Mike LeBon.
LeBon's Landscaping.
Awesome. So we're going to check these guys out. Cool. Get them on the show. You guys have been tagged. All right, ladies and gentlemen, quick reminder before we head out for the day. 365 pairs of shoes by the end of the year. Hit up James 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. He'll hop on his Harley right over there and pick them up. And if you have any insurance needs, if you want to get your personal, your life, your home, your auto, your business, whatever insurance needs you need, or you want to add insurance into your particular line of business, hit up James 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. And if you want to be a guest on the program, make sure you hit me up 619-884-4915, or Hernan at seeusfirst.com. Or you can find us on our social media feeds at Business Bros Pod. That's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And I'm out.
All right. Thank you so much, Facebook. We love you.
We love you guys.
Thanks, y'all, for hanging out with us for round 2. We got a lot more of that coming next week for those of you that are sticking around. Really appreciate everybody that hangs out with us throughout the day. It's so cool to have a following. Like, we really have a lot of people that do check in with us pretty much every day, and all of you are freaking dope. Love you all.
All right, guys.
Mwah.
Peace.
Nice. How long was that?
39 minutes.
Nice.
Went a little long. But